Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Arsenal Transfer Room Live. It is Thursday. I hope you are doing well. And there is plenty to talk about. Lots of stuff going on around Victor Gyokeres, who's emerged he'd taken a back seat behind Cesco. Apparently not anymore. Bit of confusion, maybe some mind games going on. Honestly, we're going to talk about it. Nico Williams back in the frame as well. And just a few odds and sods, random bits that I want to talk about. Gabriel Magalhaes has done an interview with a couple of interesting points in that. And so, yeah, there is plenty to get into. But before we get into any of it, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. Please, we are now less than 200 subscribers away from 19,000 subscribers. And if you could click the like button, the thumbs up button, it's free to do. Just go down below, click it, get it out of the way. I would be incredibly grateful for that. But there's loads of you here, absolutely loads of you. Love Ferguson of Aberdeen, Vivi Vladimir, Ethan Udall, Guna, Leonardo Saliba, Emil Sywalder, Lukey G's in the building, Curtis. Good to see you. And many, many more. Like I said, I can't read them all these days. Ross Lawman's in the building. And Lukey has been a member for 12 months. It's our anniversary, the 1 year anniversary of Lukey being a member of the channel. 1 year is crazy. Been here for a while. Lukey, I appreciate the support. And I know you were a big supporter over on Twitch as well. So an absolute legend. And Liam Rushworth with the 199 super chat. Waneri brace tonight. Well, hopefully, we will be watching, or I will be watching, I don't know about you, England under-21s, their opening game of the Euros tonight, 8 p.m. kickoff. It's on Channel 4 in the UK, so it is free to watch if you've got nothing better to do. And I would imagine Ethan Waneri will be starting. So, yeah, quite interesting to see how that goes. Hopefully, he has a really good tournament. Ryan Henderson says, watch Rory on YouTube and Rory at the US Open. Double content. Yeah, Rory, Matt, all right. Apparently, he started well. I've not been watching, but apparently he did start well. Do you still do Twitch streams? They will come back. They will come back. I'll be honest, I'm in a phase at the moment where I literally haven't played a video game since the last time I did a Twitch stream. I just stop playing. So it will come back. Do you think we actually get Rodrigo this summer? We can hope. We can hope. Although Nico Williams, as I said, is back in the frame. But look, let's kick things off with this whole Victor Gyokeres situation. So chronologically, this morning, well, last night, there were rumours that Arsenal had a meeting with Sporting. They were unconfirmed rumours. Then this morning it came out from Ojogo. And it is worth noting, right? All of these reports are coming from Portuguese outlets. And I do think that's important. But Ojogo this morning said Gyokeres agents met with Arsenal and Manchester United. An offer is expected soon. Arsenal are now seen as the front runners. But Arsenal have still not yet decided between Cesco and Gyokeres. Then Record Portugal, however you pronounce it. Again, a Portuguese outlet this evening saying Arsenal have submitted the first concrete offer for Victor Gyokeres. The offer was presented yesterday at a meeting that took place in Menorca in Spain. It was 55 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons, and it is set to be rejected. Now this, based on everything we said yesterday, just seems a little bit odd. Francisco Oliveira, who is, of course, is Portuguese, is saying Ojogo is a better source. So there you go. Maybe we wait for Ojogo to come out and confirm if an actual offer has been made. But the reason it's weird is that we're hearing yesterday directly from the president of Sporting that they won't even accept the 65 million euro offer that supposedly was the number that their agent, that Gyokeres agent had been talking about. So if he's come out publicly and said, we're not going to accept 65 million euros, and it sounded like it was going to be closer to 80 million euros, then for Arsenal to come in with a bid yesterday for 55 million euros, I almost feel like if that bid has gone in, Arsenal have deliberately bid with something that they know will get rejected, but to make it seem like there is genuine interest there. And this is where there are all of these kind of theories now as to what is going on. Who is playing who? Who is leaking what to the media and why? Is it Arsenal leaking things to the media? because they maybe want to hurry Leipzig along in accepting an offer for Benjamin Cesco? Is it Sporting leaking it to the media that Arsenal are interested because they want to hurry Man United along because they feel like that's what's going to happen? Have Arsenal genuinely bid? Do Arsenal genuinely just think that eventually they can get Gyokeres for cheap? It's all a bit confusing. So we will wait for a more legitimate source, you know, a Fabrizio, an Ornstein, a Sami Mokbel, even a Hand of Arsenal, to speak about this supposed bid. But it's interesting. I do think the games that are going on are interesting. It's all mind games. Yeah, it seems that way. But who's playing the games? Who's getting played? Who's the player? It's Berta. And look, this from Ornstein, I think perhaps puts it into more perspective. The president said they haven't had any bids, but that was yesterday, right? That was yesterday. Unless he said something more recently. Someone has just claimed that there's an Ornstein bomber, a Fabrizio bomber about Isak to Liverpool. Is that true? No, it's not. Okay, I've been trolled. Well done. I'll remember your name, Catalan094. You'll never get me again. So Ornstein said this, and this is what I think is important. And this is quite long. Arsenal are working on the number 9 position every day. These things are not as simple as we, the public and media, might think or want to imagine. They've got to get this right. It's a boring answer, but the process is ongoing. They'll be assessing their options. Cesco, Gyokeres, and Watkins are high among them. There will be so many different factors involved. On the pitch, off the pitch, football, financial, transfer fee, structure within the transfer fee, add-ons, bonuses, salary, agent commission. We see the reports of some dialogue between RB Leipzig and the representatives of Cesco. That's normal. The numbers, release clause, gentleman's agreement, payment terms, similar with Gyokeres and Watkins. We're not aware of any other candidates. You can't really put a timescale on it. I'm sure Arsenal will want to make developments this week, next week, as soon as possible. A lot of work goes into this, and we clearly don't have a conclusion just yet. And I do think this continues to play into the idea that Andrea Berta wants a deal for Cesco, a deal for Gyokeres, maybe even a deal for Ollie Watkins, all lined up in a way where actually there's an agreement almost made, and then he can go, okay, this is what we're going to do. And that can then even tie into, is there a deal to be made for Rodrigo? Or is it going to be Williams? It's like he wants it all to be there at the same time so that he can make the best decision across all of them. And of course, it's not just him making the decision then. It's Arteta and it's the board and it's Kroenke. But I think that is why there is so much confusion as to what's going on, because typically it would be Arsenal want player X, Arsenal are pursuing player X, Arsenal have advanced for player X, Arsenal have got player X, right? Without all of the alternatives in the frame. If Arsenal had put a bid in and want it leaked, it would have been leaked by Mokbel, Orny, or Hand of Arsenal. That is true. I think it's more likely that it's come from Sporting. Or maybe it genuinely has happened. Have you seen that Cesco was not involved in RB Leipzig away kit reveal? No, I've not seen that, but it does seem like they have fallen out. This is the thing. These gentlemen's agreements, you know, Gyokeres had one with Sporting, they've fallen out. Cesco had one with RB Leipzig, they've fallen out. They're stupid. They are stupid. So yeah, that's kind of it. We don't know where we're at. There's been nothing more on Benjamin Cesco today in terms of any sort of reports. And so we'll wait and see if there's confirmation on the Gyokeres bid from any sort of English source or Fabrizio. Obviously, that'll legitimize it. But the fact is, you know, if we've bid 55 million euros plus 10 in add-ons, which is supposedly what that bid was, we're quite a long way away. Which would suggest it would be difficult to come to an agreement anyway. Bubba's Trick, thank you very, very much for becoming a new member of the channel. Unbelievable. Very grateful for the support. As I always say, these memberships are going back into the channel, so it does mean a lot. And I hope you enjoy your new green name in the chat. What happened with Cesco? Nothing. Nothing has really progressed with Cesco. The only thing that's annoying Cesco is very similar to Victor Gyokeres. Supposedly, there was a gentleman's agreement in place that if Cesco signed a new contract, he would be allowed to go the following summer for, I think, 70 million euros. And now Leipzig want 80 million euros. Now, Hand of Arsenal has previously said Leipzig are in a position where they have to sell, and quickly, because they've not made European football this season. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. It's Arsenal hold the cards, to be honest with you. Like, Sporting have to sell, and they might not even be able to sell to Man United. And there doesn't really appear to be anyone else at the table other than maybe Juventus. Leipzig need to sell Cesco. Again, their options are limited. Arsenal have the pick of the bunch. So, I don't mind Berta and the rest of them making sure that we do get the best deal for the player that we want the most. For what it's worth, Bot Mob has predicted Waneri starting as the striker tonight. We'd love to see if the false 9 or second striker in a 4-4-2 could be a future role. Arteta once hinted he could play as the 9. Yeah, Arteta did mention him playing as a 9 previously. It'll be interesting to see how they play. It will be interesting to see how they play. Someone saying Bomber, Pletigo. I'll tell you what, Mateus Cunha, you better be right. You better be right. What is it? Is there one? 3 minutes to go. Man United have officially entered the race for Hugo Ekitike. Man United made contact with Eintracht Frankfurt in the last 48 hours. That would be genuinely one of the most baffling moves I could imagine. Ekitike is supposedly or reportedly going to cost more than Benjamin Cesco. He actually works better when you let him play kind of off the left-hand side, which is exactly what Mateus Cunha is going to do. I would be very surprised by that one. We're using Ekitike to get Gyokeres. That would make more sense. That would, again, this is all part of the mind games. It would make more sense if Man United are doing this so that, again, Sporting go, oh, God, if Man United get Ekitike and Arsenal get Cesco, we're left holding a cock in hand. So it could be. But I think Ekitike is well overpriced. You know, when we looked through all the strikers and their numbers, Ekitike's goal scoring record in terms of the number of shots that he has, the XG that he has compared to what he actually scores, I think for 100 million, don't get me wrong, he clearly is a talented player and maybe he can get better. But 100 million quid, you want something far closer to being sorted. Sims, good to see you. How's it going? Other than Cesco and Gyokeres, are there any other strikers you would like Arsenal to move for? No, to be honest with you. I'd be very disappointed with Ollie Watkins. Obviously, Isak would have been the one, but it's just not going to happen. So, no, Cesco and Gyokeres are the two for me, 100%. What was the source for the Gyokeres news? The source for the bid was Record Portugal, which, according to Francisco Oliveira, who is Portuguese, is not the best source. Ojogo is a better source. They confirmed that Arsenal did meet with Gyokeres agents yesterday, but they haven't confirmed a bid as of yet. What are your views on Mateta? Good striker, but we're beyond that point. I think if we've waited so long to sign a striker that for me, Ollie Watkins, Mateta, I don't know, Chris Wood. No, not Chris Wood. That would be taking the piss. But that's a level down from where I want to be. I want to be either Cesco, because I think he genuinely has the ability to go on to be one of the best strikers in the world, or Gyokeres, because you bring him in now and he's one of, if not the best goal scorer in the world right now. So, not the best. Erling Haaland still is, but they're the two that I get. Osserman just seems like a massive problem, to be honest. I rate him, but he just seems like a massive problem. Speaking of all these sources, what's your go-to source? And have you tried the Saka sauce? I've actually just made a video on TikTok about some of my 2 favorite sources that both got decommissioned. The sour cream and chive dip at McDonald's and the ranch sauce back in the day at Subway. So these days I don't know, pretty soulless when it comes to sauces. Grealish is going to the market. Do we want him? Not for me. Not for me. I don't think so. This Nico Williams news. So this came from David Ornstein. There's quite a lot of news from David Ornstein because he did a long podcast with The Athletic where he spoke at length about Arsenal and kind of all of the situations that we've got ongoing. So Ornstein said, number 9 is Arsenal's priority, but not far off that is the wide player. I would expect somebody to come this summer. You would imagine nominally to the left, but it's not impossible that someone comes in who can play on both sides. Rodrigo! That's why you had Leroy Sane of interest. Arsenal were keen on him, but I don't think it was their top priority. I still think Leroy Sane was a potential third forward option, personally. He said, I don't think there is anyone much higher in their thinking than Nico Williams, and we need to pay close attention to that situation. So Ornstein's still very hot on Nico Williams. He said, then you have somebody who has clear admirers inside Arsenal, which is Rodrigo. The noises are that he has to have a conversation with Xabi Alonso. No doubt Arsenal would look at the situation, but what about the finances involved? Now, I don't think the finances involved in Rodrigo are going to be that much more than Nico Williams, to be honest with you. And Nico Williams could be more difficult because of the flipping buyout clause, which, if you have to pay it in full, is brutal. So, yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying that burger tomorrow night that you mentioned. Oh, patty and bun. You'll enjoy it. You will enjoy it. Pletigo yesterday said Nico Williams' demands are 20 million gross. Yeah, 20 million gross, which is what? What's that, like 3? I can't. The maths is like 350 a week. Is that maths correct? 350 a week, something like that. It's crazy money. It's honestly, I don't think it would be particularly cheaper to do Nico Williams than Rodrigo. And Rodrigo's a better player, in my opinion. Aswad, I will come to that. I will come to the Gabriel thing, don't worry. Williams' wages are a joke. Yeah, but the problem is Williams is being offered probably something near that to stay at Bilbao because of the way that they set up their club. So I think it's really difficult. Does Nico Williams also have an annoying agent? Why is he demanding so much? Probably. But I do think, like, I don't know, in my head, I'd almost kind of like, I know Arteta has wanted Williams for a long time. And don't get me wrong, some of Williams' numbers are really, really good. When it comes to taking his man on, when it comes to like successful dribbles, dribbling past players, causing problems that way, Williams is pretty much the best on the market that you can get, but I still prefer Rodrigo. 382k would be 20 million divided by 52, yeah. So then factor in, I assume 20 million was euros, so that becomes whatever it is in pounds. Well, like probably like 320 actually, isn't it, if it's in pounds? Something like that. Rodrigo's better value, as he has much better, in my opinion. Williams is certainly not the finished article. Yeah, I think so. I can't see beyond Rodrigo. Me neither. Rodrigo's the one that I'm in for. Look, there's 500 of you here, by the way. So if you could click the like button and subscribe if you're not already, that would be absolutely sensationale. Jadon Sancho, no thank you. No worries, Nid. Big test on Sunday. Good luck in the big test. Good luck. If we get Gyokeres, would Rodrigo still happen? Yeah, I think so. I think you can do Rodrigo and Cesco or Gyokeres, to be honest with you. In fact, actually, if we did Gyokeres, I think Rodrigo would be more likely to happen because I think Gyokeres will end up being the cheaper option out of him and Cesco. So if there was a reason that we decided to pivot and go for Gyokeres, who I think is cheaper, then maybe that would be with getting Rodrigo in mind. So I think Gyokeres is being used as bait. Very possibly. Nid's just dropped the Discord link. Yeah, if you do ever want to join the Discord, the link is in the description to it. Plenty of Arsenal conversation going on down there, so feel free. Tony, thank you very, very much for the $5 Australian. G'day, mate. Pint on me. Thank you very, very much. I will indeed get a pint on you. Thank you. £5 pints in London. You can. Weatherspoons. You can get them in Weatherspoons. So there you go. And then look, there's a load of extras to talk about today, just kind of additional little bits that aren't major stories. The first of those was Thomas Parte did an interview with Ghana Soccer Net, or they were the ones that published it, just about where his future lies. And he kind of said that it's not up to him, that it's up to his agent and Arsenal to figure something out. But he said the first thing is where you are happy and where you feel at home. Then it's about your next objective, what you want to achieve next. We all have a family that needs money. That's always in our mind. So he was kind of, I don't know. I don't know what he was trying to say with that. Basically, money is clearly something that's going to play a part in his decision. But maybe, where he feels at home is currently Arsenal. And so it's about figuring it out. So that's what he has said. Then we'll move on to Kivior and Zinchenko. So this came from Gazzetta Italia, who are claiming that Milan want both Kivior and Zinchenko. Damasio has spoken about Milan wanting Zinchenko, but Zinchenko's high wages currently being a problem, so he would have to take some sort of pay cut. And then Hand of Arsenal followed it up. He said, AC Milan have contacted Arsenal around 2 or 3 weeks ago to understand the situation of Alexander Zinchenko. They were told 2 other clubs were in the mix. The message from Andrea Berta is clear. Pay a respectable sum or leave the room. The situation remains fluid. So we're clearly going to demand what Zinchenko is worth, and I do think the club, do think that there's reasonable value there. The issue is for a Milan, if they don't feel like the wages that he's demanding are low enough, are they going to bid a respectable bid and pay Zinchenko what he wants? I think it will be difficult. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Tony, you did not need to do that. 10 Australian dollars. Crap, realised AUD and pounds are different. Maybe this covers one. Now then, bloody Poms. It definitely does. And you definitely didn't need to do that. But I am very, very grateful for it, Tony. I'll probably get 2. I'll probably get 2 pints with that. So thank you very, very much. What's a realistic combined fee for them two? Well, this is what I was thinking. For Kivior and Zinchenko, you could maybe get, I think if you were realistic, you could get 50 million. Break that down. I think Kivior, you should be aiming at a minimum of 30 million, which would pretty much be, what we paid for him plus inflation. And then Zinchenko, 20 million. I don't think you're going to get more than that, especially if he's demanding high wages. But if you could get 50 mil for Kivior and Zinchenko, that buys you the defender. So if we're in for Jorel Hato, I would say that more than covers Jorel Hato, to be honest. I'd be surprised if he was 50 million. But that is where I imagine that money would go. Or, and I did float this on Twitter, I'm not a huge fan of Rafa Leão, but Kivior and Zinchenko, maybe plus a little bit of money for Leão to come the other way. Could that be a thing? I don't know. Those sorts of deals never actually happen normally because of the differences in valuations of players and stuff. I think I've spoken about that before. Having deals with multiple players involved usually gets very messy very quickly. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that one. It will be interesting to see what happens. Leão is not that guy. Yeah, he's not the guy for me. He's not the guy for me personally. 25 mil for Kivior. Zinni probably 15. Well, we need to wait and see, right? This, I suppose, is something that we need to see with Andrea Berta. Can he sell? It's all well and good him having loads of negotiations and this, that, and the other. Can he sell players for good money? I don't know. Nid is taking the mod role seriously. Yeah. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I mean, all of the links are always down below for all of my other social medias. If you do want to follow them, what are all of the outgoings that you want? Zinchenko, Kivior, if you go and get a Jorel Hato, but not if you don't. You can't we can't afford to lose Kivior and not bring in another defender. Reece Nelson. Obviously, Nuno Tavares is gone. Sambi Lokonga is one that we need to move. but might be difficult. Marquinhos has gone. Tierney's gone. That's pretty much it. There's not much else left, to be honest with you. Would you take it if some teams put in 60 million plus for Erdigard? No. Especially with Simons available in the market. I just don't see a player like him in our system anymore. No, I wouldn't take 60 million for Erdigard. No. I think I said on a stream before, it would be 100 million for Martin Erdigard for me to consider selling him. I think, hot take maybe, Erdigard will be a contender for the Premier League Player of the Season next season. I back Martin Erdigard to have an unbelievable remontada next season. He will be in contention for Player of the Season across the whole Premier League, not just at Arsenal. Trust me. With the Zubimendi Rice behind him, which should allow him to stay further forward and not have to be so involved in the build-up, and Zubimendi can find him between the lines. I'm telling you. All aboard the Erdigard train for next season. Kind of like 22-23. Exactly. Gyökeres or Cesco, and what's happening with both of them right now. If you go back to the start of the stream, you will be able to hear everything that's currently happening with Gyokeres and Cesco, just so I don't go over it all again for the people that heard it the first time. I'm probably like ever so slightly edging towards Cesco at the moment, but I really would be happy with both of them, to be honest with you. Junior Films, I'm very good, thank you. Some more bits of extra information today. So some more things that came from that Ornstein interview or podcast with The Athletic. He said, we believe Kepa Arrizabalaga has agreed to join Arsenal and they will have to pay the 5 million release clause. It's not done yet, but it is a situation that's advanced and is being worked on. Kepa is prepared to fight for his place with David Raya. Now, Kepa's not going to compete with David Raya. That's not going to happen. He will be the number 2. And it isn't officially done yet, but it will happen. Seems all Portuguese outlets are running this Gyokeres bid. I assume it happened then. Unless some of them are just taking the information from Record. Like, the thing is, once Record Portugal posts it, you'd imagine then all of the outlets will just copy it. That happens a lot. So, can't we structure the 5 mil? Apparently not. Hey, Rory, not been in for a long time because I've had my further maths GCSE. Hope to be in more frequently now. Hi, the Brainiac with the further maths. I hope it went well. And welcome back. Ornstein also saying on Martin Zubimendi, he said, I think Arsenal's work on Zubimendi in terms of intensive efforts really began last summer after the Liverpool move had collapsed. Edu was dealing with Real Sociedad over Mikel Merino, and no doubt there would have been conversations about Zubimendi. Now, from what I've heard, actually, the conversations about Zubimendi were happening long before Zubimendi to Liverpool collapsed and were most likely the reason that Liverpool's bid collapsed. But he said, as far as we know, Arsenal regard this situation as done, even signed. They're expecting Zubimendi to hook up with them for the start of pre-season. As I've reported for ages, Arsenal have been acting internally and planning with him for the 25-26 season. He said it looks like Arsenal may be paying over the 60 million euro release clause in order to stagger the payments rather than paying them in one go. So that is all looking good. And then Gabriel Magalhaes has done this podcast. It's called Podpar, that came out this evening, I think, or this afternoon. And the interviewer asked him, do you know if Rodrigo will join Arsenal? And Rodrigo said, I don't know, but I'd like it, obviously. He's a phenomenon. I've told people already, he's a phenomenon. If it was up to me, of course. I've spoke to the director. So Gabriel Magalhaes is putting in the work. If he's spoken to Andrea Berta about it, if he's getting in Rodrigo's ear about it. Sorry, no, yeah, Gabriel said this. Rodrigo didn't say that. Did I misspeak? That's what Gabriel said. So yeah, hopefully Big Gabby is acting as the agent in this situation. And also, other actually good news, Gabriel told him that he is fully fit to start pre-season. So Gabriel will be available for all of pre-season and therefore available for the start of the season and back fully fit for us. So that is obviously very good news. Like the fact that we will have, Saka will be fully fresh, Havertz will be fully fresh, Gabriel will be fully fresh. Hopefully Jordi and Timber will be fully fresh. We've not had an update on him since he had that surgery. There was no full clarity as to how long the healing process for that ankle surgery was going to be. Obviously, in a dream world, he will be fully fit as well. And in a dream world, only Gabriel Jesus and Tomiyasu will be missing when we start next season. Trossard's never better than Nelly. I would rather keep Martinelli if you gave me a choice, to be honest with you. Get Big Gabby a statue if he gets Rodrigo. Honestly. Which EPL club is the club of choice for Brazilian players who transfer in? Arsenal, Chelsea. I mean, Man City. Brazilian players have moved to Man City. If you're talking Ederson, Fernandinho, Gabriel Jesus, Savio. More recently, I guess we've started gathering some Brazilians. United have only got... Well, United have got, what, Casemiro, now Mateus Cunha. Chelsea have had a fair few over the past. I wouldn't say there really is one club that's... Vitor Reis to City as well. I wouldn't say there's one club specifically that sort of gathers the Brazilians, but that was Edu. Well, to be honest, Edu didn't do that well at collecting Brazilians. If you actually think about it, he didn't actually do that well. I think Marquinhos was the only one that he brought from Brazil, because I think Martinelli was before him, right? Magnus, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Wolves. No, Wolves have a Portuguese player, don't they? Well, Portuguese and Brazil. I guess it's the same language. I think pretty much every player at Wolves must speak Portuguese. Are we getting Hato? Possibly. We're in the room for him. We're in the room. It does seem like we want a central centre-back or a centre-back of some description. So, Erdigard will be back next season. I agree. Yeah, Forest. Yeah, Forest just did a bloody triple signing of Brazilians, didn't they? But then that's Edu. So Edu's gone there, and God knows what. I mean, God knows what. If he's given free roam to actually make the signings he wants to make, God knows what could happen. What do you think our squad will be for the start of next season? It's difficult to know. I think it will largely be what it is now. Obviously, bringing in Zubimendi. We will bring in a striker. I think we'll bring in a left winger. Dreamworld, it's Cesco and Rodrigo. Maybe one more. Do you think Hato means Parte's leaving and MLS moves into midfield? Possibly. I think the longer it goes without Thomas Partey signing a new deal, the more likely it is that he's not going to stay. It does seem like they're having issues. And I like the fact that they're having... It was definitely reported at some point that Arsenal had presented an offer to Thomas Partey, which hadn't been accepted. The longer it goes on, I really can't see Arsenal being bullied into keeping Thomas Partey for more than we want to keep him. So, we'll see. Gabriel is so money hungry, he just signed a new big deal and now he's trying to get 10% for the Rodrigo transfer. Yeah, I'd give him the commission. I would happily give him the commission. Surely we sign another midfielder if Parte goes, someone like Agume. Well, you would think so, unless Miles Lewis-Skelly is being touted for the midfield. That would be the only thing I would say. But for that to happen, you'd have to keep Kivior and get Hato for that to happen. You couldn't lose Kivior and Parte and not replace both of them. Liam, thank you very, very much for the $1.99 super chat. What game do you want first game of the season? Well, it'll be an easy game. Or easy game. Because it won't be any of the... So I don't know if you're actually familiar with... So the fixtures come out next week. I don't know if you're actually familiar with how it works. But there is like an algorithm thing that means... I can't remember exactly how it is. But basically, there's like, for the last 3 years, they take the average positions of the Premier League teams in the last 3 years. And if you're in the top 6 on average, if you're one of the top 6 teams on average position in the last 3 years, you can't play against each other on the opening game of the season. And the same applies for the final day of the season. And the same applies for, I think, the Boxing Day fixtures and the midweek fixtures that are all on at the same time. So it's unlikely that you'll have a difficult game if you're Arsenal in the first game, because it's, like I said, based on that rolling 3 years. That said, yeah, Spurs might not be involved in that. So, I mean, a North London derby opening day would be crazy. But normally, I mean, a lot of what happens is that it'll be that Friday night kickoff. So, yeah, like away at what would be realistic? Away at Leeds United. Away at Leeds United on the opening game on the Friday night. That would be realistic. In terms of what I want, I'm not particularly bothered. Sunderland away Friday night on Sky. I mean, Sunderland would be all right. I don't think Sunderland are going to have a particularly good squad going into next season. But the thing is, actually, I mean, I know. Obviously, what happened with Brentford a few years ago was bad. Generally speaking, though, I don't think it's to play a team that's just come up with the team that we've got, which will be relatively like, even if we've brought in Cesco, Rodrigo, Zubimendi, and even if they start, the majority of the team still knows exactly how to play. Like, they've got that cohesion. Whereas these teams that are coming up, they chop and change so much that they start the season quite badly normally. Obviously, like I said, Brentford, maybe not so much, but did you see 3 million Galatasaray fans watching Sane's flight stream? Yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy. Brentford being 4 years ago is mental. Yeah, that was a low point. Tomiyasu remontada, 25-26. Trust, I feel it. Yeah, I mean, some people disagree with what I said about Tomiyasu yesterday in terms of, you know, not feeling like he's really got a spot left in the squad. But I'd love to be wrong. You know, I love Tomiyasu. You know, he's the Swiss Army knife, but it's just me being realistic. Like, how many players come back from that amount of time off and are able to do it at the top level? You know, it's just me being realistic, to be honest. Would you rather take Rodrigo? Yeah, Rodrigo's my number one. Rodrigo is my number one. Yeah, the Japanese army knife. Exactly. Out of the current team, who do you think is most likely to become a successful manager? I would have said Jorginho. Obviously, he's gone now. I don't know enough about Zubimendi. I mean, maybe Martin Erdigard. Martin Erdigard could be one for sure. Generally speaking, the best managers are central midfielders. Like, if you actually look around at the best managers in the world at the moment and where they played, obviously you got Arteta, central midfielder, Guardiola, central midfielder, Arne Slot was a central midfielder, Xavi was a central midfielder. I think Luis Enrique played across the midfield. Cesc Fabregas coming through as a central midfielder. Xabi Alonso as a central midfielder. I think there is definitely a correlation between, and it makes sense. You know, if you're a central midfielder, especially a central midfielder that's not like a physically dominant central midfielder, one that kind of has to use their brain to make it work for them, it makes sense. It makes sense that they understand. How do you think Rodri does after his ACL? I hope he doesn't come back like Timber did. I think he will come back like Timber did, to be honest. He was the only person, you know, when Timber did his ACL, there was a bit of confusion around whether or not he'd actually done his ACL because he was seen walking on it after. He was seen walking on it after, like before he'd had the surgery or anything. And Rodri was exactly the same. Rodri walked on his, and he just seems like a tank. And he recovered from it quite quickly. I mean, he was back in what, 8 months, which would suggest that it all went pretty smoothly. So, yeah, it's probably a good thing for him that he's got the Club World Cup to get back up to speed. To be honest, Vlahovic is decent. Nah, not Vlahovic. Not for me. No Vlahovic for me. Thank you very much. What's all the news on Bellingham? Did he do something bad against Senegal? I don't think so. Thomas Tuchel just said something really weird about him. Thomas Tuchel said, because I think after the game, Bellingham like threw a water bottle or something, like something really insignificant. And I think he'd like kind of stormed off the pitch a little bit, like after the full-time whistle. And then I think someone, maybe Rice or someone, had to like bring him back onto the pitch just to applaud the crowd and stuff. But then Thomas Tuchel was like, my mother finds him repulsive or something. There were some really weird quotes from Thomas Tuchel about his mother not liking Jude Bellingham, which was all a bit weird. But no, I don't really understand it, to be honest with you. Yeah, Vlahovic can swivel on it. I've no interest in Vlahovic whatsoever. Did you see Trent talking perfect Spanish today? Yeah, the Liverpool fans were not happy. They were not happy. I saw he booted the ball into the stands. Yeah, that was it. Something like that. Throwing a water bottle or something like that. I don't really know. Anyway, look, there are 550 of you here. Please do like, please do subscribe as we get into today's Arsenal quiz question. Get your fingers on your keyboards. The first person to get this right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community. What should we go for? Let's go for... Ooh. Oh, here's a good one. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect. I will give you the multiple choices after the first person has got it correct. The question is this. Who were Mikel Arteta's first opponents as manager of Arsenal? Who were Mikel Arteta's first opponents as manager of Arsenal? Right, I need to go back and see who got it first. Also, there's a super chat that I'm going to go back to in a second. I didn't miss it, don't worry. So the multiple choices were Norwich City, Chelsea, and Bournemouth. And I like this because they actually give you a little bit of extra information about it as well. So the answer was, and let's see, who was the first person to get it right? The first person to get it right was... Diallo, by the way, thank you very, very much for the 199 super chat. Rory, please talk to me about Rafa Leao. Honestly, thank you very, very much for the 199. Leao is not my player for me. He is not. Look, the first person to get it right, though, it was Bournemouth, and it was Ramsey that got it first. Congratulations to Ramsey. Second was Fraser Johnson. Third was Carl. Fourth was Curtis. And fifth was Spacetime. So there you go. Congratulations to the winners. Ramsey wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community. With a little bit of information to go with it. His first game as manager was on the 26th of December, Boxing Day 2019 against Bournemouth, and it finished 1-1. So there you go. Congratulations, Diallo. Thank you again. Nid's calling a VAR check. Yeah, Diallo, thank you very much for the 199. But yeah, for me, Leao doesn't have enough consistency, and his work rate is something that I worry about. Sam Shapira said cherries. Wow. Did he? Nah, not in time, though. Oh, yeah, sorry. So second. Yeah, Sam Shapiro was second with cherries. Yeah, Sam Shapiro was second. Everyone else, you moved one down. But Ramsey was still the winner. Ramsey was still the winner. Sam Shapiro, I apologize. You were indeed second. You were indeed second. That is good process. Good process, Nid. Well done. Well done. But look, that is going to be the end of the stream. I massively appreciate you all for joining. As always, if you are not already subscribed, please do so. If you've not already clicked the like button, please do so. And yeah, other than that, enjoy your Thursday evenings. I will be back tomorrow with another stream, I expect. And until then, hopefully there's going to be a YouTube video coming out too. But otherwise, I will catch you all on the next one. Till then, goodbye. Are we still like, has this ended? Why has it not ended?